Breaking today, Meghan Markle has just disgustingly broken the terms of the Sandringham Summit in her latest TV farce as the Sussexes start to leak new details about the meeting with the King. How predictable. But of course, the mainstream media are giving her a pass on this. The royal family are giving her a pass on this, but I'm not, because I am completely disgusted by the fact that confirmation of Ms. Markle as a guest judge on MasterChef Australia shows that she is absolutely making money off her so-called royal connections. Because it is now official, it is now confirmed by the Aussie broadcaster that she asks contestants to create a dish fit for a duchess. So sure, she may have been angry about the TV producers referring to her as royalty, but trust me, as someone who covered the Sandringham Summit, this TV appearance goes against both the clear law of the Sandringham Summit, if only it was enforceable by law. Lock her up! Lock the traitor up, but also actually the moral code of what the Sandringham Summit was all about. Create a dish fit for a duchess, be paid on a commercial television project to do that. You are breaking the Sandringham Summit. You are not listening to what the late Queen wanted. I think the whole show is going to be a terrible, terrible car crash for Meghan. Look at this.
My temples because I can't understand how this is so good. Here we go. I am rubbing my temples because I can't understand how this is so good.
Cringe. Thank you for the royal grift from that. Tash, the Daily Mail, according to Taz, is with me, I should say, the Daily Mail reporting on this, Tash, that Meghan Markle's judging spot on MasterChef Australia will be broadcast later this month, with chefs challenged to create a dish fit for a duchess. The former actress filmed the slot when she visited Australia with her husband Prince Harry during their pseudo-royal tour 3 months ago. She has said her love of good food and Australia were the two reasons she chose to be a guest judge on the country's biggest TV show. But as the Royal News Network put it, oh gosh, how cringy can this be? A dish fit for a duchess? Really? Now, Tash, I know we can just say, well, she's broken the terms of the Sandringham Summit so many times, doesn't even matter anymore. But to me, it actually does. When she is directly going on a television show, my understanding is that she was paid a lot of money for this television show. This was not for charity. It was not for Archewell, which, as you point out, Tash, and we'll come to it later, she never talks about anymore. This was to plump up her bank balance and makes a big thing about, well, I'm not going to be called royalty because, of course, we can't use that. But then the actual challenge is a dish fit for a duchess. I'm sorry. You are breaking the Sandringham Summit. You are yet again disrespecting the late Queen Elizabeth II. You are yet again disrespecting the British royal family. She doesn't care. No one seems to call her out for it anymore, so I will.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a woman that once turned around and said, I want to be linked and not ranked, but also the same woman that when she went to, I think it was the LA tar pits, and there was a group of school children, this came out in a report, that there were school children, and she got them, the person, whoever it was, to announce to a bunch of 11, 12-year-old girls, the Duchess of Sussex, let alone when she went to a friend's house that was allowing her to have her interview there. And she also got announced walking into the room. I mean, Meghan, she knew it looked bad. This was the thing. So she quickly got her spokesperson to put out a statement. This is very typical of Harry and Meghan, to turn around and say, that's not true. I was very upset and frustrated that they said something like that. But let's be realistic here. Meghan preparing a dish fit for a duchess. She was a working duchess for 22 months. Most of that, she was actually on holiday and out of the country and maternity leave. Secondly, Meghan Markle never even made it to an official state banquet. Not even once. I think it's obvious that you could probably serve Meghan burger and chips, but given the way that that woman eats burgers, I mean, come on, Dan.
No one wants to see that. No one wants to see her eat. No one wants to see her touch any food. But no, look, the point is she can no longer say, oh, this was something the TV producers just did and I'm against it, because the entire challenge is about a dish fit for the Duchess. And you're so right.
Yeah.
It's so weird, isn't it? Because it's like everyone's sort of trying to look up to her as if she's royalty when we all know she's not. It's super, super cringe. Equally cringe, Tash, the fact that Meghan Markle appears to have bought herself an Emmy nomination. But Tash, not for the actual Emmys, right? Which are the big deal where you get all of the primetime shows competing against each other, like, The Diplomat and Hacks. And do you know what I mean? The big deal,
Shows
big
you've
budget
heard
TV
of.
shows that you've heard of. This is the daytime Emmys, Tash. Now, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
How on earth can what was it called? Yeah, With Love Meghan. How on earth can With Love Meghan qualify for the daytime Emmys? It is a streaming show that was very much launched as a prime time proposition on Netflix with a prime time budget. But no, she's got a daytime Emmy nomination.
Yeah.
Here's the need to know from her propagandists at People magazine, of course, who breathlessly announce Meghan Markle's Netflix show was announced as a daytime Emmy nominee. With Love Meghan, one of the nominees in the Outstanding Lifestyle Program category. The winners will be announced at the 53rd Annual Daytime Emmy Awards in October. Trust me, they're not a big deal. The daytime Emmys, they're really, really not. And let me just tell you what her competition is, Tash. I haven't heard of any of them, and I'm going to apologise if these are good shows. One's called A Different Breed. One is called George to the Rescue. The other, The Motherhood and The Wizard of Whores. But as RNN said, tell me without telling me that there are almost zero shows to compete in this category. With Love Meghan was the antithesis of entertainment. It was an abysmal, boring slog at best, and getting through one episode was painful. Yet, of course, Tash, the Sussex squad haters are all over this. I had Narinder Kaur messaging me this out of the blue saying, wow, Meghan Sussex. I mean, it's so embarrassing, isn't it? No one calls her that. Amazing Netflix show With Love Meghan has been nominated for an Emmy. Emmy in capital letters. Incredible. Wait for the haters to have a meltdown. And no, an Emmy can't be bought. Well, actually, it can, because you do have to campaign, Tash. That's how these awards work. It's a huge, big money industry. So let me give Narinder the benefit of the doubt. Narinder, love, you don't know how Hollywood works, okay? I do. I spent decades as an entertainment reporter. You can absolutely buy an Emmy nomination because you campaign for it. The producers, they put ads out, they target the voters. You can absolutely buy a nomination. But the bigger point here, Tash, is that it's the daytime Emmys. Actually, if she was nominated for the main Emmys, I'd have to be a bit like, whoa, that's a surprise. But how on earth can a show on a massive primetime budget, remember the budget for this was something like $80 million, Tash, with like 80 staff members. Yeah, exactly. A huge team. All of a sudden, she's admitting, oh no, this is just a little daytime show. Because again, for people who don't understand, Tash, daytime in television, and remember, I'm not saying this from a snobby perspective. I spent 10 years working as a showbiz correspondent at the big daytime show here in the UK. I love daytime TV, but daytime TV, Tash, is very much made on low budgets, on a sort of different level of, authority and a different level of importance, considered importance in what is a snobby industry. So when all of a sudden did Meghan decide, oh yeah, this is just a little daytime show. It's, 80 million budget, but it's just a little daytime show.
Recent reports have once again fueled discussion about Harry's relationship with King Charles. Royal commentators have suggested that communication between father and son may have improved compared with previous years. However, very little has been officially confirmed. Buckingham Palace rarely comments on private family conversations. That silence often creates room for speculation. Some observers believe any contact between Harry and his father is a positive sign. Others argue that meaningful reconciliation will require much more than a single meeting or conversation. Whatever the truth may be, public interest remains enormous. If King Charles represents one path toward reconciliation, Prince William represents another challenge entirely. Reports over recent years have consistently suggested that trust between the brothers remains deeply strained. The publication of Spare, the Netflix documentary, television interviews, all contributed to one of the most public family disagreements in modern royal history. Neither brother has spoken extensively about private conversations since then. That has left royal experts, commentators, and journalists trying to interpret every public appearance for clues. No discussion about Harry's future is complete without mentioning Meghan Markle. Supporters argue she and Harry have built an independent life centered on their family, charitable work, and business projects. Critics believe their public disclosures have made rebuilding royal relationships far more difficult. What isn't publicly established is exactly what role Meghan plays in any private family discussions.
It was the only thing that she could get her hands on, because she wasn't going to be listed or nominated for a real Emmy, was she? I mean, this is a woman that got nicknamed Salmonella Sussex because of her absolutely diabolical kitchen hygiene, let alone the basic stuff. You know, people could be, I suppose, a bit picky saying, oh, she doesn't hold a knife right and she can't grate a lemon right. This is a woman that had raw chicken in the fridge, that was wearing her jewelry as she bastes and molests raw chicken. You know, I mean, it was so disgusting watching the things that she did with food, with her hair dangling down in it. I mean, she was a basic kitchen hygiene red flag. And the show at the end of the day got cancelled after one season. It was so bad. They filmed 16 episodes and they split it into 2 so she could pretend that it was renewed for season 2. Remember her dancing around in that little baseball cap? It was all staged. There was no season 2. They filmed it all in one go. And I think that they tried to get the best episodes in the first season. But Dan, you and I sat through that. I mean, that's hours of our lives that we've lost forever.
And where are
they were all
the
bad.
specials, Tash?
They were bad.
You know the promised specials though. Oh, there was going to be a Valentine's Day special and a Thanksgiving special. Where are they? Oh, surprise, surprise, I've never come.
Yeah.
The show was axed because it was a total bomb.
Awful.
I mean, you're right. I made some special episodes. If people didn't watch With Love, Meghan, honestly, go back and watch our special review episodes where we got people like Samantha Markle in to actually judge what was just appalling television.
Oh, it was awful. It really
look,
was
Tash,
bad.
we've got to speak about the visit, though, because, of course, the leaks are coming.
Naturally.
So, yeah, obviously. So first to the Sun, who just happened, Tash, just happened, even though we were not meant to know anything, just happened to be told that Prince Harry was leaving Althorpe. And you know, just happened to be told that, you know, he was due to visit her grave with Meghan and Archie and Lily.
What gate?
Yeah, exactly. And Tash, of course, we know that this was, you know, the leaks directly coming to the Sun from the Sussex camp. So I don't believe that was at all a coincidence. They wanted people to know.
What are the chances?
Yeah, exactly. Because then the article went on to say, sources insist no details will be leaked about the private family gathering and no photos released. It's like, well, you're already leaking because you're leaking to the Sun to say, oh, well, we're not going to put any photos up. But by the way, it did happen and Harry was there. So it's like, you are leaking about the visit.
Oh, yeah. It was obvious they were going to do it. I mean, we've started having snippets coming out to do with the actual meeting with the king as well, with Kate Nichol today. You know, it's obvious that this was never going to stay quiet. But yeah, I mean, seriously, Althorpe's apparently got several different entrances. It's one of those estates where they do have prominent guests go there, and there are ways that you can get in and out relatively unseen. And let's be honest, Harry and Meghan are multimillionaires. Why not take a helicopter in? Why not go in for absolute privacy? You know, this was obviously timed for the photograph that knew exactly the time, exactly where they would be. I mean, they did, to be fair, know that Harry and Meghan were going to go to Althorpe. So you could say paparazzi were lurking in the bushes, but I'm sorry, those two leak all of the time. They set up the paparazzi all of the time for those two to be like, oh, it was nothing to do with us. It's the boy that cried wolf, really. I mean, you wouldn't believe that they hadn't set it up. But of course they were going to leak. Of course they are. This is their only currency. Harry's got the Diana card and taken the children there. And I think majority of people believe, like myself, that this will appear in the Diana documentary that they're not apparently working on. That will come out at a later date. There is bound to be releases of photographs of the children. They don't necessarily have to be at her graveside, but they will be where she grew up.
Yeah, and they will have just filmed it on their own phone, Tash, because the thing is,
Two lovely moments.
Yeah, exactly. And this is how it works because, even with the Netflix Harry and Meghan documentary, they were prepared to pay all of that money, Tash, because of the found footage that Harry and Meghan had been filming themselves. So, for example,
log in.
Yeah, exactly. Like the engagement night, like the famous freedom flight that Harry filmed on his mobile phone. He wasn't doing that for personal memories. They were getting together a collection which they could then sell to the TV companies. The world has changed. You don't always need to have big camera crews following you. Although, by the way, it was also reported that by Alison Boshoff in the Daily Mail that they were bringing camera crews for Invictus and for Althorpe, but it almost is irrelevant because as long as there is footage, what that does is it puts the price up. Or even pictures. Some TV companies, Tash, like Netflix, might just be happy if they have the pictures, because remember during the Harry and Meghan Netflix series, they did release a whole series of previously unseen images, and they were part of a montage and they were used as publicity for the show.
Personal family album.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
right.
That's how you sell it. You mentioned the Katie Nicholl report. It is worth going into because what I think is so odd about this, it's like, and this is what Harry and Meghan always do. They try and make it look as if the leaks are coming from within the royal family. But it's like, because do you remember the meeting with Charles, Tash? It was like, oh my God, it was so emotional. It was like a movie scene, and Charles was in tears, and then there was
tears.
then there was the leak to the Bucky to from Buckingham Palace saying, oh God, they made out as if this was like the Treaty of Versailles.
The Treaty of Versailh.
Yeah. And it's the same thing here to Katie Nicholl, because it's like Queen Camilla, she just wanted to be there so badly.
She dropped everything.
Yeah,
she dropped everything, Dan. She just ran for it.
And it's just like, do you know Camilla? That ain't her style. Certainly not her style for people who've called her dangerous, by the way. But anyway, this was the reporting from Katie Nicholl. I'm not blaming her for the reporting, by the way. She has to do her job. And Meghan Markle's PR teams are now clearly presenting it as to Vanity Fair today.
Again, there is this whole operation, not just Sussex propaganda, but certain people in the media that want the public to turn against the king. They all work hand in hand together. I have seen this. I have watched this over the years that I've been covering the royal family. They deliberately team up together to push this as a big victory, that the king has bowed down. The king has gone against Catherine and William. I mean, the bit in that article by saying that Catherine and Prince William were not told about the meeting, that Queen Camilla wasn't even told. It was a last minute thing. Do people really think that the king wouldn't have had conversations with his wife before doing that? What, he just quickly called her up and say, oh, darling, can you drop everything you're doing? Because I've decided to let the two traitors in to our home at Highgrove and the kids are coming. Just, pop along whenever you get a chance. It doesn't make sense. And as for Catherine and Prince William, do people really think when Prince William was playing one of his biggest events of the year, whereby he helps to earn millions for charities, that the king wouldn't have turned around and said, oh, by the way, son, you might have some press turn up that just start shouting about, I'm actually meeting your younger brother. And they would have had those conversations. It's, again, for me, I take a seat. Sometimes I react quickly, and then I'm very angry and I'm disappointed at the king. But then when I take a breath and I sit back and I go, whoa, we've seen all of this before. We've seen the spin that Harry and Meghan do. At the end of the day, it was a meeting. This wasn't a loving family reunion. This wasn't time spent, enjoying themselves. They would have stayed for the weekend or something. They managed to slot them in an hour space. Again, hasn't seen them for 4 years, the children, if he'd ever seen Lily before at all. And then that was it. It was perfunctory. This is not a loving reunion. And for anybody that thinks that the king wouldn't have had the conversations with Prince William to say, heads up, this is going to happen, because of course this will dominate the news. It was going to be huge. And the Queen, he didn't think to tell his darling wife that's got his back. He just randomly rings her up saying, do you know what? Keep it quiet, though. Don't tell your children. We're not going to tell Catherine and William, because obviously they'll leak it to the press. It was another stealthy manipulation, I would say, with Katie Nicholl's reporting to try and say that Harry and Meghan wanted it to stay completely private. They did absolutely everything. And the king knew he couldn't trust his wife, William or Catherine, or even Camilla's children. That's why it had to be cloak and dagger and kept quiet away from all of them. It's Sussex propaganda. You just need to sit back and read between the lines.
Many headlines make confident claims about motives and strategies. But unless those claims come directly from the people involved or from reliable evidence, they remain speculation. One thing is beyond dispute. Harry and Meghan remain among the most recognizable public figures in the world. Every move they make generates intense debate. Some viewers admire their willingness to speak openly. Others believe private family disagreements should remain private. Those differing opinions explain why almost every Sussex headline becomes a global conversation. The biggest question is no longer whether Harry and Meghan will continue their independent lives. They already have. The real question is whether relationships within the royal family can ever fully recover. Can Harry and King Charles rebuild trust? Will Harry and William eventually reconcile? Could future family events create opportunities for healing? No one outside the family knows the answers. But history shows that royal relationships can evolve over time. For now, the story remains unfinished. There are confirmed facts. There are reported claims. And there is plenty of speculation. As new developments emerge, separating those categories will remain essential. One thing is certain. The world will continue watching every chapter of this remarkable royal story. Do you believe reconciliation between Prince Harry and the royal family is still possible? Or has too much happened over the past few years? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more royal news, analysis, and updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.